Hi, everyone, and welcome to our fifth episode of the Untouched series with Alex Boylan. We travel today to a beautiful area of the world, Punta Mita, Mexico. Punta Mita is a little different from our past destinations as it's untouched because of its exclusivity, but it's really a destination that you have to see to truly understand. From villas rented out by some of the world's biggest celebrities to the local hostel in the town Punta de Mita, it's no place like you've ever seen before. Hope you enjoy. Alex, hello. Welcome back to Low Season Traveler Insider Guides. How are you doing today?
It's good to see you, Kate. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited to talk about a beautiful, luxurious destination of Punta Mita in Mexico. It sounds like quite an interesting place and very different to some of the locations we've talked about before. It's sort of a great example, I guess, of enclave tourism. Basically an old fishing village that has white sandy beaches that's 20 minutes from Puerto Vallarta and has been recently developed by big real estate developers in Mexico. So I'd love for you to sort of describe to the audience what Punta Mita is.
Yeah, Punta Mita is a fascinating place on this planet that I hope everyone gets to enjoy. Obviously, it's a very higher end, but it's a cool higher end. But let me step back. Okay, so this is at least how it was. I believe it's like 20 years old, right? So this is a peninsula, as you mentioned. I think it's a 15,000 acre peninsula. It's about 40 miles north of Puerto Vallarta, 45-minute drive, right? And about 20 years ago, some developer inside Mexico was like, I want to create, turn something into like where that's, I don't want to say it, but like safe and, I'm going to almost like create this like Disney World experience, although it's not Disney World. And so it's a gated community, right? So you have to be renting a house in there, own a house in there, or staying in one of the hotels that's within those gates. And then within there's multiple different gates, right? So it's like, but one is just to get onto the peninsula, you have to be at one of those things, or you can't go, right?
Wow.
So it's semi-exclusive, right? And so so 20 years ago, I built this out. And it's just so, first of all, if you're a surfer like I am, it's awesome because it's a peninsula. So it's picking up swell from like all year long. So there's like 8 breaks there that are awesome. And they're all kind of private because the only people who can surf them are staying on this. I mean, not to say there is a little town, Punta de Mita, which is the town outside of Punta Mita. People take boats around, but, and just really well done. It's interesting because there's an easy way for your mind to say like, oh, this is like where the rich go. Right. And of course, wealthy do. But I just have to say from being down there now a couple times and from filming epic villas down there, it's cool money. Right. It's
okay.
Like all right. It's cool money. Like, it's not like this posh people that like, oh, like it's not. It's almost like it's cool rich people. Right. It's people who are like, I want to get off the grid. There's, you're going to have it now. It's becoming international. Before it was mostly Mexicans and Americans, right? Most of the people who live down there, although I hear that's changing. And all I gotta say is like everywhere I go, like everyone's in flip-flops, board shorts, and just like, it's almost like I want to be able to bring somewhere warm, sunny beach in Mexico that's super safe. And if I have money, I'm going to do it here. And so like you see kids rolling around on golf carts and like I think there's even a couple schools inside there for like expat kids. So it's like
a lot of the
community.
Four Seasons Resort, like they have like children's programs and schooling and everything like that. You can go and basically live down there and family's educated and it's good to go.
Yeah. So no matter where you would set this up, like for a family, it's like a dream because you can just let your kids loose. You know what I mean? Like 10-year-old kid, go explore this whole area, beaches, all that stuff. And like you're inside this world that's, for all practical purposes, semi-protected. Right. And so like I say, it's like everyone I met down there, fascinating people. Right. And everyone was super cool. And so, and I was just to say from someone who I usually go to Cabo, that's what the LA people go to, right? It's so close, but this is my jam now. Is that not just like Punta Mita? Obviously, if I get a place inside there and stay, that's great. But Punta de Mita and some of the areas around there, because it's like jungle meets the ocean, right? And it's almost like I was just down there 2 weeks ago. Their winters are like our summers in LA. It's like perfect. It's like 80
Yeah.
degrees, water temperature 71, cools off to like 65 at night. It's like a California summer. So I think, now that I hear it's kind of getting more on the map, it's only 2.5-hour flight for us out of LA. It's super easy. It's just like, I mean, wake up, jump on a plane, you're surfing by 1:00 in the afternoon. Like that's kind of, so it's quick and it's easy. It's awesome.
Yeah, you don't even have to go far for paradise. It's right on your doorstep. It's so close.
Right there. Very close. Very close.
So you went to Punta Mita for your Amazon show, Epic Villas. And I see why it is called Epic Villas. Like you visited some of the most beautiful places. And personally, my favorite was Casa de Mita. I was obsessed with the infinity pool. I thought that was amazing.
Wait, which one's Casa de Mita?
Casa de Mita, it has the big swing chair. Casa
Brisa.
Casa Brisa. Ah, okay.
Is that like kind of like, it's just like, it's big, like one building, one structure?
Yeah, big one building. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, I think that like the guy.
Andre a South African?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So out of your opinion, and I know this might be a little, sketchy with your show, but
you're going to kill
for
me
you,
with this question.
You know what's coming, don't you? What is the best villa?
Okay. That is the toughest question for me to answer, but I will tell you, I'm gonna think of what my favorite is. I don't know if I should go there. It's a very dangerous question because all these people.
Okay, that's fair. If you don't want to answer it,
but I'm gonna talk about it from like, this is the cool part about it. There's so many different structures there, right? And so I think it's really about like what is best for you because they all are very different. Like for example, like Casa Coco, if you remember that one, like super cool, like boho chic. It was a like blonde Jamaican, right? She was born and raised in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So the one with the accent, she was the one who kind of gave that tour there. Like that place, I can remember a lot of like Lisa Hennessy, one of my producing partners on it. I mean, she was like, this is me. Like, this is me. I want this place. It's amazing. I loved it, but I'm also like, I wanted something a little bit closer to a beach break, right? And so, so everyone's a little different. And I got to tell you, I only stayed in one.
No, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, because I mean, we're in I'm so sorry. No, don't feel sorry. But I'm saying in the sense that it's hard because like Casa Tau, which a lot of people would argue is the number one down there, right? And that was the first one, Sabrina, and she's sitting there, she's like, we don't know one. Like, she's very proud. I mean, like a lot of people would say that's like can hold the most and, all that, but they're all so ridiculous. It's insane. We stayed there, we stayed there for like 4 nighs. And so obviously you get a different experience when you're staying there than when you're just going in for the day. But I will say, every one of the people who are on camera, whether that's the general manager, the marketing manager, whoever, they're all like the nice, once again, like all the people that work down there, not just the people who live down there, the people who work down there. It's just a cool global community of just cool people down there. So, but I remember Lisa saying Casa Coco was her favorite, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that's more like aesthetic and the design. I have to think about it. It's such a tough question
because they were all quite different.
I'm gonna tell you, you know what I would say, and the only thing is there was not a surf break right out in front of it. Tesoro is pretty magical. Like up on that cliff with that huge private beach, you kind of get rocks and you get it. That was a pretty there's so many different ways. It's like it's like the best but worst conversation because like I remember Casa Tau, some of these it's like, oh, if you're staying in the master bedroom here, it's like, this is stupid, Other ones, it's like, oh, if I'm laying at this pool, I'm up on the bluff, I get a little bit of a breeze, I can go jump off this cliff. So the best part about it is that those are the top 5 villas in all of Punta Mita. So they're all amazing in their own right.
Yeah, staying at any of them would just be an absolute
I tried to
dream.
dodge that question as best as possible. Kate.
You did a really good job. You gave Lisa's favorite one. You sort of sprinkled a bit of all it. Yeah, you did a very professional answer for that one. And so I know you are a surfer, but are you a golfer?
Oh my gosh. So my dad is a golfer, right? Like, so I grew up golfing because my dad loves golf, like insanely loves golf. And so, yeah, he's, So I probably know where you're going with this, but yeah, so I can appreciate golf. So fire off.
And so did you play on the course there? Because I know that it's rated one of the best courses in Latin America, and it was designed by an ex-golfer, and there's a special 19th hole. And for the golfers out there, it's a 199-yard par 3 hole that tees off over the Pacific Ocean.
Okay, Kate, it's stupid. Okay, so all right. So first of all, to tell the audience a little bit, like, so this whole episode, it's like we basically focus on 5 villas, and then we try to do these little 30-second interstitials that tell you a little bit more information on the destination. That's the format of the show. Those are originally going to be one we're going to do because there's 3 Jack Nicklaus golf courses there, right? So people
3
who
of
live
them.
in 3 of them, right?
Wow.
So 3, so if you're a golfer, so if you're a surfer, you love golfing, like that's all within these gates, right? So and typically I think when you own, there's membership fees, but there's like all this other stuff to do. It's like you're almost like living in your own little like world, right? Anyway, so that was what that bit was going to be. There's a bit right after Palma Sola, amazing villa, and their holes are right off of that. That was the bit. We were going to do this like, oh, we'll talk about all the golf courses and we'll, because it's such a big thing down there. Next to Palma Sola, if you watch the episode, Mike, who's the general manager there, we walk over to this hole, that famous 19th hole is right there. And I get there and I was just like, this is from someone like, I take my dad to the best golf course. That's what I give my dad as a present every year, is a golf experience somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's the only natural island green in the world. And so you look out, it's about 170 yards out. Not just an island either. I mean, it's like this kind of like mountainous island. And then it's like this, it's like, you got to drop that thing on there. And it is for golf lovers. I remember sitting there and I was like, we can't just do, even though Mike touched upon it at Palma Sola, because he's a big golfer. And we're like, I'm like, we're not talking about the 3 golf courses, because it's kind of like, not to say the golf courses, they're not amazing. They're all Jack Nicklaus, like perfect golf courses. But I'm like, this hole is spectacular. And people need to know about this hole, because this is something like, do it once in your life. If you love golf and you want to swing a club at something, it's like the 17th hole at like TPC Sawgrass. It's like, there's always these certain holes that everyone like. This is the prettiest hole in golf I've ever seen in my life. And in fact, I say in the episode, but Jack Nicklaus says, and Jack Nicklaus, the famous golfer and golf designer, that's the prettiest hole, or the best golf hole he's ever designed.
Wow.
That's out of his mouth. Yeah.
It's pretty big praise.
It's pretty big praise. And so just so the audience has like, so at high tide, it's a full island, right? But at dead low tide, you actually can drive out there. You're walk out there.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's like a tidal swings it up or down. Yeah. So I guess when it's at high tide, they used to have a boat that would take you out there. But now they just
a boat to the golf course.
a boat to the green. But I think now it's more of like that's why they call it the 19th hole. It's like, if it's high tide, let your ball go. Try to get it on.
So I'd love for you to describe to the audience and to me as well, what is a day looking like in Punta Mita? You get up, what are you doing? What's available to you? What's drawing your attention?
Okay, so I'm going to talk you through my day, because my day is probably different. I would get up. So there's 4 beach clubs there, right? Mm-hmm. Each beach club has like kind of a different theme. Some are like more kid friendly. Some are more like, there's different themes. So my morning would be, I'd wake up. And this is going to sound like so pretentious, Kate. Like I would.
No, but this is what I want to know. I want to know what this luxurious day is like.
When you're staying there, and by the way, it's like it's luxurious, but it's like cool luxurious. It's not like over the top like posh. It's like we can't don't want to like break anything. It's not like that. It's like jungle adventure cool meets money, right? Is the way I would describe it. So, I would get up, right, and if you're within the confines of the gates, like why you never get in your car? Like there's just no point, right? Everyone has a golf cart. So I'd have my golf cart, I'd have my paddleboard or surfboard out the back, and I would drive to, it's called the Surf Club. And it was a bit of a ways. Like, so when you're in a golf cart, like you could be spending 30 minutes trying to get around. It's like, it's a world down there. So but you're in your golf cart and it's just cool. You're just riding through jungle, and then taking a road. So I would go there. And there's a great break out there called La Lancha. And so I would go surf off of that. I'd come in and then grab a little brekkie right there. And then because I was just down there with my wife, she, we're both working. So like, by 9 o'clock, I'm firing up the laptop at that beach club, and so it's like, it feels stupid. It's like, this is how I wish everyone, I wish I could live every day like this. I'd be happy as can be, and then I'd work a little bit there. Maybe roll back. I wasn't like running around golfing, but then, yeah. And then I'm trying to think of what I gotta tell you, last time I'm down there, I haven't been down there where I'm not working. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm also
so there's always work on the cards.
Yeah. So even though I'm there, and I believe that was like everyone, I wasn't like running around like doing, like just with nothing to do all day long. I was there on a weekend day and I just surf 4 times a day because that's just what I like to do. But so I would usually go and work. Then around like 4 o'clock, right before the sun goes down, we'd probably be hitting another beach club, right? And just have a couple sundowners, and then we get in our golf cart, and you can take the golf carts outside the gates, right? And so right next to Punta Mita is what they call Punta de Mita, and that's like a little town, like a real town. And so, and so everyone there, it's like half like people who live in Punta de Mita. So like everyone's riding around on golf carts, but you're in like the main streets now, right? And it's super cool. Tons of bars and restaurants. It's like that's like the up and coming beach town because it's still quaint. It's like because just for the audience to know, like Sayulita, which is a pretty famous place, that's north of Punta Mita, like 30 minutes north. And it's kind of gotten zooed out. There's a lot of over tourism. There's like a lot of problems there now because there's so much tourism. Punta de Mita is like the cool place to be now. And so like you're just rolling on your golf carts. They have great restaurants there. And so grabbing some dinner. And then because I'm an early riser, like I'm probably asleep by like 9:30. But yeah, that's my day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was like, I was literally like, if I would, and I have a buddy of mine that just went down there and he was like, I think I'm going to buy down here, man. Cause I was just like, I get it. Like I could live here. That's a place I could live year round. Like I know one of our last podcasts, we talked about the Bahamas and I love that, but like, it's pretty awesome there. Yes, it's going to be hot in the summer. It's going to be hot, but it's not like unbearable. It's not like it's going to be hot and humid, but you got 6 months out of the year down there. And that is like Southern California summer, perfect kind of weather. And
so
I
mean, even if the summer's hot, you get a hot winter as well. That's the bonus. Yeah.
And there's some like really cool thing. I never got a chance to go up, but when we were filming the episode down there, the DP, Mike Murray and Lisa, they drove. There's some really cool towns in the mountains. Like, so they drove up in the mountains a couple of days and found some and they were like, oh, it's chilly up there because you're right on in big mountains. So there's a lot to explore. I got to tell you, as an American, who travels sometimes too far to get out of like America just for a change. Like I love Mexico. Like like the Mexican people, it's like, I remember saying this the whole time I was down there. It's like, I love our neighbors. Like we have awesome neighbors. Like Mexican people are just like, they love life. You know what I mean? They got that Latin flair. It's a little hotter. The tequila flow is a little bit more. And like, it's just, they're fun, friendly people. And it'd been a while. Sometimes I was going down a little bit just because of surfing. I'd be down in Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and you forget that like just your neighbors to the south, there's so much cool stuff in Mexico. Like it's a big, and I barely know anything on Mexico. I mean, it's like, there's so much to explore and Punta Mita and that whole area and everyone says when I'm there, I'm like, I feel like I found this like hidden gem down there. They're like, Alex, this is everywhere. Like just keep driving north. It's like you'll hit Sayulita, which has become pretty like popular. Then you hit this place called San Pancho, and they go, just keep going. It's just beach town to beach town to beach town to beach town. And
there's plenty to explore.
Yeah, and then all the way down to Acapulco, all the way north to Mazatlan. They're just like, if you love to like adventure, it's like good roads, safe. It's another thing that Mexico's had like a tough time with when it's come to tourism. Is the safety factor, right?
Yeah,
just because
absolutely.
Of the stuff that go down there, and it was interesting. Like when I was talking to people down there, like, yeah, we don't. You get Southern Mexico, you don't deal with it because it's just like it's most of it drug trade, and obviously the closer you get to the border, the more that there's might be rivalry, and they're like, down here, it's like, it's they all know who the kingpin is. It's like it's like the old mafia in Italy used to be really safe, and so they're like, like it's never see no issues. So. Sometimes it's unfortunate. I think that Mexico's over the last few years, you see some stuff that happens at the border, and then all of a sudden you just blanket a whole country with being unsafe, which is just not the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel super safe. I feel super safe, and honestly, and like and my wife's not like a super adventure traveler like me. I'd feel safe with her driving around there. You know what I mean? I go and think twice about it. It's not just. There's a lot of travelers. It's very like cultural.
So if you are traveling to Punta Mita, the main tips are make sure you book something first, because you're not going to be able to get in otherwise. Can you stay in the town outside in Punta de Mita as well?
Totally. And I would highly suggest that. And Punta de Mita is super cool. Yeah. I mean, it's different, but like literally that's where my buddy was like renting, and I talk about it. I'm like, I think that's going to be my new jam. It's like just staying in Punta de Mita, because there's a great break right there. It's a cool little town. And so you're off the grid. And so I think it's like perfect for if, Sayulita is bigger. And so if you're looking for like the partying and all that, yeah, Punta de Mita is not the spot, right? Like go to Puerto Vallarta or go to Sayulita or go to a bigger town. But if you're like, I just want to like mix it up with locals, right? And I want to like have some fun and being like, kind of like, I say it's like if you get in there now, I bet that place is not going to be the same way it is in 10 years from now. I know it. Like now's the time to go check that place out. For instance, we were out one night. We finished dinner. There's a bunch of us who happened to be down there at the same time. So there's like 6 of us. And all of a sudden I just meet this guy and he's like, come on inside. You know what I mean? We go in, his whole family runs this restaurant, and we drank mezcal until like 2:00 in the morning. And he had this like every sip of the mezcal, he had a new story. And it was him and his wife and his family. And it's just like that story that you always think about, that was it. And I think that's the experience you'll get in Punta de Mita. All of this. It's a really, what's going on there is a magical thing. And I'm not afraid. This is just the nature of how tourism works. Like it's going to get played, it's going to turn into something different in the next like 5 to 10 years,
Yep. So go now if we can. That's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. Even like the water is just so ridiculously clear and nice. And it's unfortunately in Sayulita, it blew up so fast that you almost can't even swim in the water off Sayulita.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, just because they just couldn't figure out sanitation fast enough for the growth of the town. And so they say it's pretty like, it's pretty dirty water. Not to say people aren't swimming out there, but there's a lot of like unfortunate, so, some of these, when you're in, not that Mexico's undeveloped, but some of these areas that blow up fast, that just aren't like equipped properly to deal with that many people. And so enjoy Punta de Mita or Punta Mita. Punta Mita will always probably be nice. And that's why I think like all around there is going to stay nice, because there's just this 15,000 acre lot with a lot of wells sitting in there. So I feel like they're going to be like, they're the king in town, and they're going to make sure that it doesn't get too disturbed. So it's a cool spot.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. Well, thank you again, Alex. It has been absolutely wonderful. You have just continuously added more and more destinations to my list, and it has just been an absolute pleasure to chat with you.
Absolutely. Anytime. It's been awesome.
Thanks. I hope you're enjoying our Untouched series with Alex. It certainly has added some destinations to my ever-growing travel bucket list. Next time on our final episode of Untouched, Alex and I discuss Haiti. It might not be your traditional holiday destination, but it certainly is a fascinating part of our world. If there are any destinations you'd like to hear about, contact us on our social channels @LowSeasonTraveler. More now than ever, travel is better without the crowds.